I'm striving to get rich. That's why I almost went 2 years without buying shoes and fits. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little prouder.
Yo, what's up, world? APW Sports signing in, and today is going to be something a little bit different. Today, we're going to rank the top starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, the list goes from elite to above average, average, below average, and bad. And as you see at the bottom of the screen, you have 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Without further ado, let's dive into it. First up, Matt Ryan. Now, Matt Ryan has been, I'll say, borderline elite, borderline average. But for this sake, I'm going to put Matt Ryan in above average. He's not average at all, having won the 2016 NFL MVP. But I wouldn't quite put him in the elite status as his play starting to drop off just a tad. So I'm going to put him in the above average category. Now next up is Andrew Luck. He's also borderline elite and above average. And for this sake, I'm going to put Andrew Luck at the above average level. But he does have a slight chance to go to elite this year if the play that he played in 2018 continues. He will be elite. Now, next up, I'm not going to be so biased, but you guys already know. I'm a diehard Bear fan, and next up is money making Mitch Trubisky, and I'm going to put him at average. He's definitely not below average. He's definitely not bad. Last year, he was a bit inconsistent. Just for a tad, he was a bit inconsistent. But when he was on, he played exceptionally well. He's not at the elite and above average yet. He probably can be after this year. But that was just a wait and see. Next up is Eli Manning. This is one I tend to struggle with. He's been below average the past 3 or 4 years. Last year he was, I want to say, bad. But 2017 he was really bad. But for my sake, Eli, this one's a little tough, y'all. I'm gonna put him in. Yeah, I'm gonna go with below average on this one. He's not bad yet. I don't think he's gonna be that bad, but I do think he will be bad enough to where if they think Daniel Jones, who I still should, I don't think they should have took him. But nonetheless, they did take him at number 6. I still think they should have went with Dwayne Haskins. But they went with Daniel Jones, which was basically Eli Manning Jr. So Eli is a wait and see, but I will put him at below average for now. For his career, he's had a good career, but the last couple of seasons, he's been looking for a replacement, and the Giants finally pulled the trigger on it. Next up is Jared Goff. He's also borderline between elite and above average. But I'm going to put him at above average, mainly because 2 games really exposed that he's a little bit timid under pressure. First game was that Week 14 matchup against my Chicago Bears, where he looked like the second coming of Ryan Leaf. And at Super Bowl, I don't know what happened to him. He did not play well at all. It seems like in that game, the Patriots took the blueprint from the Bears Week 14 match and put it up against them in the Super Bowl. So for Jared Goff, I'm going to put him at above average. Next up, Joe Flacco. Bad. He he was so bad that Lamar Jackson's presence made them change the whole offense, and they threw him in to get Joe Flacco out of there. John Elway, I don't think should have took a chance on Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco hasn't been the same since the Ravens won the Super Bowl back in 2012. I don't know what they were thinking when getting him from the Ravens. Why would they trade for him? And his contract is absolutely horrible. He's getting paid a ton of money to suck. So, I'm going to put Joe Flacco in a bad class. Next up, Oakland starter, Derek Carr. He's in between these two levels. I'm going to put him at below average. Mainly because he struggled these last 2 years. He hasn't been himself. They gave him a ton of money and he hasn't lived up to that billing at all. Now the presence of Antonio Brown has a chance to kind of change things. But for this sake, I don't think it will only serve much. John Gruden's presence will not help. I think the hiring of him was a mistake, but that's another topic for another day. So I'm going to leave Derek Carr below average. Now, next up, Houston, Texas, Deshaun Watson. He's going to be borderline between these two tiers, but he's going to be at average. Even though I think the Texans can be better, he can be better as well. I'm just going to leave him at average. He's not bad at all. He just has to, number one, the offensive line has to protect him because the Texans led the league in most sacks given up last year. And even with Deshaun Watson's mobility, he can only escape so much. But when he was on, he played very well. Now he's going to have a boost with I don't know why I keep saying that man's DeAndre Hopkins elevated play. And also he has weapons around him that he can really start to get to that elite and above average tier. But for now, I'm just going to leave him at average. Next up, no question, elite, Tom Brady. Elite. I mean, really, are you going to say anything else other than Tom Brady, other than elite? As much as I don't like him, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. But you cannot hate greatness. The man's been great. 6 Super Bowls. He's been in 9 of them. He's won 6. What is more there to say? And when he's down, he elevates his game. I have nothing more to say. Tom Brady, elite. Next up, Nick Foles. Jacksonville just paid him big time dollars. But I really think Philly's system was what elevated Nick Foles to the play that he had in 2016, 17. No, not 16. 17 and 18. I really think the system that Philly had really made him look great versus him himself, because when he was with the Rams and the Chiefs, he looked god-awful. So for this sake, Nick Foles, I'm going to put him at average, but he is better than Blake Bortles. So you just step up above Blake Bortles in Jacksonville. So for this sake, I'm going to leave Nick Foles in average. Next up, second-year quarterback from the Jets, Sam Darnold. I'm going to put him in above average. Psych. I'm going to put him at average. He really showed promise that he can be that guy. I mean, he's still relatively young, so you can't really judge him too much off of 1 year. He has some great games. He has some bad games. But you're going to expect that from a rookie. Not too many rookie quarterbacks is going to be at a consistent level first year starting out, especially when he started game 1. I mean, it's going to take some time for him to develop. But as of now, I'm going to leave him in average. Now, next up is Russell Wilson from Seattle. This one I'm kind of struggling with this one. It's between these two tiers. They did pay him elite dollars, but he doesn't have much around it. But his play, I'm going to put him in the elite tier. Russell Wilson, despite the lack of weapons that he had, still played at a very, very high level and helped guide the Saints. I'll say Saints. What's wrong with me? Helped guide the Seahawks back to the playoffs. So, and in his running ability as well, helped boost him to this elite status, and he's been playing consistently well throughout his entire career. So I'm going to leave Russell Wilson in the elite category. He's elite to me. Now, the top dollar I think is going to hurt them, but that's another topic for another day. Next up is Matthew Stafford. This one I'm struggling with between below average and average. Despite the stats, his play hasn't really carried the Lions to go anywhere. Even with Megatron, he only made the playoffs twice and didn't win a game. But he's not. I'm going to leave him at average. Now, if he does not elevate the Lions anymore, within probably the next 2 to 3 years, I think there's going to be time for them to start looking for a new quarterback. He's getting paid a lot. He's been getting paid a lot in his entire career. Because when he got drafted in 09, you guys might remember or might not, the rookie wage scale was not in yet. And he started in making top dollar. But at this point in his career, I don't think he's really taking his game to the above average elite level. So for their sake, I'm just going to leave him at average. Next up, Drew Brees. No question, elite. My favorite quarterback personally to watch. If it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes' season, that would have been your MVP. Drew Brees has been elite his entire career almost. Personally, is my favorite quarterback in the league today. And not only just because he's my favorite, I'm also going to say that because I play fantasy football and he's helped me win many championships. Just to be honest with you guys, Drew Brees is my absolute favorite quarterback to watch. I love how accurate he is. I love how he changes the plays at the line. He's an enjoyable quarterback for me to watch. I love his style of play. So, elite is the only place you could go with Drew Brees. Just broke the record for most passing yards in a career. How can you not put this guy in the elite tier? He's been consistent his entire career. Let's move on. Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens. He is gonna be. I'm gonna put him at below average, but this is why I'm gonna put him at below average. His arm is why I'm gonna put him at below average. While yes, he does possess the athleticism and the speed, his accuracy and his throwing motion, and I think that still needs a lot of work, which I think he can be able to achieve that level of passing success. He's just not a real thrower of the football yet. And I hope they kind of get rid of a little bit of the action so he won't take as many hits and give him more of a pocket presence. The only reason I'm putting him at below average is because he doesn't throw the ball particularly well. Even though he did lead the Ravens to the division title, I still think he needs more improvement with his arm. And it's going to take some time, but I think this year he's going to start being more of a pocket passer. So for just this moment, I'm going to leave Lamar Jackson at below average. Next up is Pat Mahomes. I'm not putting him in elite yet. I'm going to put him at above average. I'm not putting him in elite yet, and this is why. He had a 5,000-yard, 50 touchdown season, but we have to remember, it was his first season as a starter. It's not consistently. Now, if he shows consistently, he's definitely going to be elite. He definitely has the arm strength, but it's not consistent enough for me to put him at elite yet. While he has the potential to be there, but it's just one season. We're giving him so much hype. Well deserved, man, I add, but it's only been one full season as an NFL starter. So at this point, I'm going to leave him at above average. Now, if you guys disagree with me with that one, you can leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I really know what you guys think about that one. Next up, Baker Mayfield, Cleveland Browns. Average, but he has the potential to be above average. Here's why I say he's going to be at that above average level. He does have the arm talent. He has the confidence. He has the cockiness that I love. But, I mean, it's just his rookie year. We've seen quarterbacks have great rookie years and then fall off. RG3. So let's wait and see before we put Baker Mayfield in the elite and above average tier. Baker Mayfield average. I love what he does, even though I hate that he beat Ohio State. But that's another topic for another day. But Baker Mayfield, I'm just going to leave him at average just for now. Cam Newton, he's a struggle man between elite and above average, but I'm going to put him at elite. Now he hasn't really had too many weapons to work with at Carolina outside of Greg Olsen, and even then he won an MVP. He has an excellent strong arm. His accuracy can be questioned a little bit at times, but he has been consistently good throughout his career with an MVP award. He has the mobility, and he's big, 6'5", 250. I'm going to leave him at elite, but he does have a chance to slip. The shoulder is a little bit of a question for Newton. We don't know exactly how his shoulder is going to hold up going into the 2019 season, so just for now, I'm going to leave him at elite. Next up on his list, Kirk Cousins. Oh my gosh. Kirk Cousins. I don't know. This one I'm struggling with. He has 3 tiers, average, below average, and bad. Ugh, this was tough. But for Kirk, I'm going to put him at below average. I'm going to put him at below average mainly because of his play against good teams. He doesn't show up. Against other teams, the man is a good quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback like Flacco. But Kirk Cousins, I'm going to leave him at below average. Until he shows he can play well and consistent against elite teams, I'm not going to put him above below average. The Vikings went to the NFC Championship game in 2017. You would think adding Kirk Cousins would probably help them get back to the playoffs and possibly back to Super Bowl contention. But adding Kirk Cousins, they only dropped. They dropped to not even being a playoff team. So until he shows he can play well against great teams, below average is the only place I can put him. Phillip Rivers, that's easy, elite. That man has been consistently great for years. Consistently over 4,000 yards, 25, 30 touchdowns averagely. Phillip Rivers is one of the great quarterbacks. His arm motion, you don't know what direction the ball is going to come out of. You don't know where he's going to throw from. But he is an accurate quarterback. If only they could get over their playoff woes and get him a Super Bowl title. But Phillip Rivers is a surefire Hall of Famer, elite quarterback for years. Next up on this list, Jimmy G. San Francisco 49ers. He is coming off a torn ACL last year, when he had his chances with the 49ers and New England, he's played particularly well. So I'm going to leave him in the average category. So next up, Josh Allen, second year Buffalo. He didn't play particularly bad. I mean, Buffalo is just, they're still in very much rebuilding mode. But I'm going to also put him at average. It's not bad, but he still has a lot of room to grow. Jameis Winston, below average. He's between below average and bad, honestly. You know what? As much as I hate to do this, I'm going to put Winston at bad. This is what I feel. Any quarterback to be taken over by Ryan Fitzpatrick, you're pretty bad. You're pretty bad. Ryan Fitzpatrick to take over Jameis Winston, and Jameis Winston would have all the potential in the world. He hasn't lived up to a single billion of that yet. Jameis Winston has been, his play has been all over the place. He hasn't been consistent at all his career. If Bruce Arians can't fix him, I don't think anybody can fix Jameis Winston. So, I'm going to leave him at bad. Moving on next, Marcus Mariota, Tennessee Titans. I'm going to leave him at average. He's one of those quarterbacks that could reach up to the above average tier, but he just has to stay healthy. That's the biggest question mark when it comes to him. His health. He has, and I mean has, to stay healthy for him to even elevate his play. Tennessee has been well. Marcus Mariota just has to stay healthy. Carson Wentz, Philadelphia Eagles. I'm gonna put him. It's a different above average or average. I think for him, this one was a little bit tough one. I'm gonna leave him at average. The injuries, I think, is what's slowing him down right now. He can easily be above average if he was to stay healthy for an entire season. He did have an MVP-like season in 2017 until he tore his ACL. And last year he was coming back from the ACL and also got shut down the end of the year due to back problems. And he wasn't playing that particularly well when he did play last year. So I'm going to leave Carson Wentz at average. Next up, first overall pick, Kyler Murray. For now, below average. Mainly because you haven't seen him play in an NFL game. He's giving this man so much hype, but I can't give him above average or average until I actually see him play in a preseason game or a regular season game. I can't give him anything other than that. I don't think the right move was the Cardinals to draft him, but that's for another video that's coming soon for you guys. So I'm not going to talk too much about my thoughts of Kyler Murray, but moving on. Aaron Rodgers, I'm a Bear fan. Bad dog, just get a message, guys. Aaron Rodgers, elite. If only he can also stay healthy and the team around him can also produce well. I hope they don't. Aaron Rodgers, elite. I hate him because he's a Packer and he always terrorizes my Bears. I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but for that standpoint. But other than that, the man is an elite quarterback in this league. He's been consistently low interception rate. He only threw 2 picks all of last season. 2! Very accurate. Excuse me, what the hell happened to my voice? Very, very accurate on the run, which you don't see too many quarterbacks that have that accurate while moving. He can also take off, run for yards when he needs to. Aaron Rodgers is an elite quarterback as much as it pains me to say this as a Bear fan. Moving on, Case Keenum, Redskins, which I really don't think he's going to be the starter. I hope Dwayne Haskins ends up being the starter for Washington. But for the sake of this list, we have Case Keenum and bad. For the Broncos, to go all out and spend a lot of money on him, and he played absolutely bad, and they give him up after just 1 year. Case Keenum I don't think he's going to ever relive that 2017 form that he had with the Minnesota Vikings. Case Keenum is he's one of those guys where he have him there in the case of emergency quarterback, kind of like Joe Flacco, but I'm going to leave him at the bad category. Josh Rosen, Miami Dolphins. I'm going to put him at the below average tier as well. He did not have a particularly great rookie year, and I don't think Arizona should have even given up on him that fast. Cliff Kingsbury's system does not fit him, but I can't really talk too much about that because that's another video along with the Kyler Murray one. We're going to kind of combine those two into one video. So, excuse me. So, I'm going to leave. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that one there. Josh Rosen, below average. Dak Prescott. Ooh, this one's tough. I don't like the fact that he's inaccurate. His inaccuracy puts him there. But I'm going to leave him at average. His inaccuracy is the thing that can be the downfall of the Cowboys. This season is really going to test him out. But to me, Dak Prescott's mobility is great. Yes, he can move around. He has some solid throws. But I think he is very inaccurate at times. If you really watch him over the full course of a game, he misses a lot of easy throws. He really does, in my opinion, miss a ton of easy throws. That might be something I'm also doing a video as well, because I just don't think Prescott is anything above average or elite. So moving on to the next player in this category, Andy Dalton, Cleveland. I said Cleveland. What is wrong with me today? That's what happens when you work a 9-to-5 job. You be tired sometimes. But Andy Dalton, Cincinnati Bengals, bad. I think it's time for them to change course. It's time for Cincy to change course of quarterback. Andy Dalton is not the guy anymore. Outside of his first few years where he played really well, the last couple has been a struggle. So it's time for Cincy to change his course. It might not be this year because they're still kind of in the getting rid of the old regime and bringing in new mold, like rebuilding, retooling kind of mold. But I just think it's time for the Cincinnati Bengals to change his course of quarterback position. I don't think Andy Dalton is it. Last quarterback on this list, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh Steelers, elite. Now this year is going to be the real test of the Steelers. No more Antonio Brown. You do have Juju Smith-Schuster. You did play last year without Le'Veon. Big Ben is still an elite quarterback. Still produces 4,000, 5,000 yard seasons, 25, 30, 35 touchdown range type seasons. The main thing about him, he does get hurt a lot. Last year, played all 16. I cannot quite remember that top off head. But Big Ben has been consistently great for the last 5 years. The loss of Antonio Brown is really gonna change how Big Ben plays. Honestly, I do love Juju Smith-Schuster, but Big Ben is definitely elite. I'm almost kind of shocked he hasn't won an MVP by now. But him or Phillip Rivers, I'm kind of shocked. And Drew Brees, too. I'm kind of shocked neither one of those three have won an MVP at this rate. But here goes my list. If you guys debate any part of it, please leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like the video, share the video, comment your thoughts, and also subscribe to the channel, as that only helps the channel to grow, and I will truly appreciate it. And also click that notification bell to be notified of when your boy uploads. Other than that, I am signing out. Peace out.
I wanna say thank you to my mom and my daddy for making love the night that you had me. Wanna thank my friends, my sister, and my brother.